I'd like to start by reminding Kansans that there is still time to complete their questionnaire for the 2020 census. I can't stress this enough. An accurate census count will play a critical role in shaping our state's future for the next decade. Census data will determine billions of dollars in federal funding that supports everything from school lunches and health care to highways and public safety. The census also determines the number of representatives Kansas has in Congress. And we need voices there to speak out for issues important to our state. There's so much at stake, particularly for communities in western Kansas, and time is running out. We need every Kansan to be counted. So if you know friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors who haven't completed their census, I ask you please talk to them. Encourage them to do their part. Tell them why it matters. If they need some help, they can find answers at kansascounts.org. Again, that's kansascounts.org. I urge all Kansans to be counted. Now, on to the COVID-19 numbers update. We had a bad weekend. Kansas has had 1,545 positive cases and 7 new deaths since Friday. This brings us to a total of 38,401 infections, 2,183 hospitalizations, and 426 deaths. In these moments, it can be easy to become desensitized by the numbers as they continue to grow. But our positive infection rate from this weekend continues an alarming trend in the wrong direction for Kansas. To make matters worse, as college students return to campus, we've experienced a rise in clusters stemming from mass gatherings at 6 of our universities in Kansas and at 1 fraternity. Last week, we learned that in its initial round of testing results, 87 University of Kansas students and 2 faculty members tested positive for the virus. In Manhattan, at K-State, 13 members of a single fraternity tested positive for COVID-19. Additionally, officials with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment today informed me that 1 Kansas college student has been hospitalized with what is suspected to be multisystem inflammatory syndrome, a rare syndrome associated with COVID-19. I offer my best wishes for a quick recovery for this student and for all who are battling the harmful effects of the virus in our state and around the world. Please let this serve as a reminder. Let's take the threat of COVID-19 seriously. As we move further into the fall semester and as more elementary, middle, and high schools begin to open, we must be even more diligent when it comes to COVID-19 mitigation strategies. The science is clear. Children can catch and can spread the virus, and while they may be asymptomatic, their teachers and their families won't be. Going back to school will be different this year, and it won't be easy. Every single public health guideline that schools follow and implement in their districts, like wearing masks, social distancing, and sanitation, are necessary to slow the spread of the virus, not only in our schools, but in the communities where they are. While my administration will support our schools every step of the way, we can't do this alone. I encourage parents and community members to lead by example and show our kids why it's important to wear a mask. We've got to do it in every county, in every community, in every school. Because we have reached an unfortunate milestone. Every county in Kansas now has at least 1 positive case of COVID-19. I know that I might sound like a broken record, but each time I give these updates, I feel it is my duty to remind Kansans that we cannot stop now. We must continue to be diligent, to wear masks, and to social distance. Our health, our economy, our schools depend upon it. Finally, in non-COVID-19 related news, today I have the pleasure of announcing the individual whom I will appoint to fill the vacancy on the Court of Appeals created by the retirement of Judge Stephen Lieben. Over the past several weeks, members of my Court of Appeals Nominating Commission have been taking applications, conducting interviews, and searching once more for the most qualified applicant to serve on the Court of Appeals. In July, I was forwarded 3 nominees from the Nominating Commission, and I interviewed each of these applicants before making my decision. While all 3 nominees would serve our state well, one clearly stood out during the interview process. I know that he will serve Kansans honorably on the Court of Appeals, and with that, I am pleased to announce that today I have appointed Carl A. Folsom III to fill this vacancy. I'm sure many of you remember Carl, but for those of you who don't, Carl is a 5th-generation Kansan who grew up in Tonganoxie. He earned his bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Kansas, graduating with honors and highest distinction. He attended the University of Kansas School of Law and graduated from there in 2005. Carl has worked in the Kansas Appellate Defender's Office, representing indigent defendants and arguing many cases before Kansas appellate courts. He also spent 2 years in private practice handling civil and criminal cases before becoming an assistant federal public defender, first in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and then in Topeka. Carl proved during the interview process that he knows the struggles of Kansans who face economic insecurity. He knows the challenges in our criminal justice system. And as a public defender, he was willing to go the extra mile to protect Kansans' fundamental right to an attorney, including helping a wrongly convicted Kansas veteran clear his name. He is without a doubt the most qualified person for the job. And with that, I'll take questions.
Governor, Mr. Folsom also was rejected by the state Senate for a previous vacancy. What indication do you have that the result won't be the same in January?
Well, when the Senate initially rejected Carl Folsom's nomination, I was quite clear about how disappointed and actually appalled I was by that. And we have heard from a number of senators that they regret the vote that they took or the one that they passed on. So I fully expect that the Senate will come back and do the right thing this time and confirm Carl Folsom to the Court of Appeals. He is, by all measures, qualified for this. He's a good person. He deserves to be on the court, and I think the Senate will confirm him.
Governor, when looking at colleges and universities, and even high schools and sports, we're hearing from a lot of athletes that they're very concerned that sports might not be happening. But on the university level, we're moving forward with football games. Are you concerned about that? Should people not be going to the games? What are you feeling on that?
You know, I've been saying, for over 6 months now, that people need to wear masks, they need to socially distance, they need to avoid mass gatherings at all costs. And so while I completely understand the desire of both the players and the fans to get back in the stadiums, I don't believe that this is the time, particularly for high contact sports. I have said repeatedly also that it would probably be a good idea to consider reversing the sports and move spring sports to the fall. Those tend to be more individual, cross-country, tennis, golf, and then move some of the more contact sports into the spring in hopes that we've got a vaccine by then and we can play those safely.
So, could you do an executive order that would accomplish that?
Pardon me?
Could that be accomplished through executive order?
I don't know, Martin. I'd really have to check with folks to see if I could do that. But we have school boards and we have university administration who are in a position to implement the public health practices that need to be there to ensure that we can keep those schools open.
And you're not going to reintroduce or reenact the EO on when K-12 starts?
I think that's a settled issue. You know, we said September 9th. A number of the school districts agreed to that starting date. Some moved it up a bit. I don't think we're going to revisit that at this point.
Even the things, the numbers get worse.
If the numbers continue to get worse, obviously we will look at everything. But right now, I think what we've got in place is what people should expect to happen. So I know that there are a number of schools that have already opened. There are ones that are scheduled to open, I believe, this week, and then a number have put it off until after Labor Day. So right now, we're there. As always, we are following the metrics. They don't look good right now, but I think some of the local units are taking care of that. I know I'm paying close attention to what Johnson County, for instance, is doing, and a number of the school districts over there. They're recognizing the metrics and taking appropriate actions.
Governor,
Goodyear drew national attention in the ire of President Trump, and now recently some attention from Joe Biden. And I've been seeing a lot of things about how if you're not supporting this, you're not supporting farmers who buy the tires, how it's important to the Kansas economy. But I want your opinion on how important, or what you're thinking, how you're feeling about this local business that draws a ton of money for Kansas blowing up.
Well, the folks at Goodyear will tell you that I have been a major proponent and supporter of that company from even before the days I was in the Senate, but certainly for the 14 years that I was in the Senate. The Goodyear plant was actually in my Senate district, so I was their senator, and I was a very, very strong advocate for the plant, and I continue to be. They do good work. Actually, the plant in Topeka is unique in that they're the only ones that make those really massive tires. So the country needs them. Our farmers need them.
One more question.
Governor, you mentioned that the coronavirus cases have now been reported in all 105 counties. The last two were Wallace and Rawlins County in western Kansas. Interestingly enough, Rawlins County started school today. Wallace County is, actually it's the opposite. Wallace County started today and Rawlins starts tomorrow. Talk a little bit about what this milestone means that we now have cases in every county.
Well, I think it just means what we've been saying all along, is that everybody needs to be vigilant. Nobody, the virus does not know borders, obviously. We've been saying that for a very long time. This is evidence of that. And I would fully expect that the school board in both of those counties and the districts within those counties will be paying close attention and will be monitoring the situation as they reopen their schools and take appropriate actions. I couldn't hear you.
8-man football is going to go on as planned, I'm told.
Well, I would hope that as the evidence becomes clear, that the school districts make the appropriate decisions on what kids should and should not be doing.
Thank you.